What comes to mind when you hear World War II veteran? Older? Wiser? Hero? The greatest generation.
We didn't think of ourselves as great. After the war, the people of my generation just went about our lives. We did our duty and fought in the war. Then we came home and got back to our lives. Some went to college. Some went right to work. We got married, bought homes, raised children, and worked to make life better for the next generation. Later, we retired and started enjoying being grandparents. We never thought of ourselves as great. The one thing we did not do well was share our experiences of the war with those who were not there. Many did not like to talk about it. Many were never asked. We just stayed quiet. But as we got older, people started to ask. We were always respected for what we did, but as we aged, this need to know got more intense before our stories were gone forever. And so we began to tell them. So here's my story. I'm a member of that generation. I was born in 1925. I was 14 when World War II started. I was in the 10th grade. I played on my school's baseball team. I wasn't the star, but after some of the older kids graduated, I was hoping I would be. I went to the movies with my friends. Back then, it cost a nickel and a box top. We stayed all day and got to see the movie, a short film, a cartoon, and a newsreel telling us what was happening in the world. I remember watching newsreels of the war when I went to the movies. The U.S. was not really involved in it then. It was all happening over there. We didn't like what that Hitler guy was doing, trying to take over the world and all. But we were too busy just trying to figure out how to survive here to do much about the problems of people on the other side of the world. And Japan. What was their problem? They were always trying to prove how tough they were. Couldn't they just leave their neighbors alone? I guess not. And since the countries in that area were our friends, we had to help. So we tried to make the Japanese stop by hurting them in their wallets. And then we just wanted to go about our days trying to have less pain in our wallets here at home. We moved 12 times during my childhood because there were no jobs for my dad, and we didn't have enough money to pay the rent. And then they hit us. We all remember exactly what we were doing when we heard about Pearl Harbor. Me and my friends were so mad. We were all ready to get them right then and there. Nobody attacks the U.S. and gets away with it. And then Germany declared war on us too. Can you believe that? Some of my friends were older and enlisted right away. I was only 16, so I couldn't get in. I watched as my friends and relatives went off to war. Some of them went into the Army. Some went into the Army Air Corps, and some went into the Navy. Having grown up near the Great Lakes, I always liked the water. So I thought the Navy would be the way to go when my turn came. When I was 17, I couldn't wait anymore. I lied about my age and signed up. I joined the Navy. I was ready. I wasn't learning anything important in school anymore. With so many of the older boys in the war, the baseball team fell apart, and there weren't any good jobs around home. So I signed up. I was old enough and ready to go fight the Japs and save the world. When I got back, I would finish school and get a job. My girl said she would write me all the time and wait for me. When I got back, we would get married. So off I went. Do you see me there? How about now? There I am. I signed up for the submarine force. Submarine duty had its downsides. It's hot and loud and crowded down there. It was harder to be away from home than I thought it would be. I only got mail from my parents and my sweetie when we were in port, which was not very often. I didn't really have claustrophobia, but sometimes it would have been nice to have a little space and privacy. People are working all the time. so it's bright and noisy even when you're trying to sleep. On the good side, I was getting to see the world and save it. We ate pretty good too. And I was learning some good skills which would help me get a good job when I got home. Submarines were really important to winning the war against Japan. So many surface ships were destroyed at Pearl Harbor, but not the submarines. We sometimes delivered supplies to our troops. We helped transport people back and forth. We also sank the merchant ships so that supplies could not be delivered. And of course, we sank their war boats. I remember the first time we sank a Japanese boat. We really felt like we were saving our country. We had to be sneaky and careful, because if they knew we were there, they would have shot at us first and sent us to the bottom of the sea. So we circled and crept and watched and waited until just the right moment, and then, bam! We got it. That'll teach him to attack my country. Over the next 2 years, we did our duty and patrolled, and sank 7 warships, 14 merchant boats, and even rescued 2 pilots whose planes had been shot down. We knew the work was important, and we were proud to do our part and serve our country. But we were ready to go home. After the war, things didn't turn out the way I had planned. I did not finish school. I did not find a great job. My sweetie met someone else and raised a family with him. No, life did not turn out the way I had hoped. After the war, I stayed here forever. I never made it back. On our last patrol, something went horribly wrong. A part of the sub exploded. I don't know if we got hit by a torpedo, hit a mine, or what happened to us. I only know we just had 30 seconds to get out before the sub sank to the bottom. 30 seconds is not long, but those 30 seconds lasted an eternity to me. I tried to find a way out, but I couldn't. It happened so fast. I think I cried. I think I screamed. I know I prayed. Maybe a few of us made it out. I hope so. But I did not. I was only 19 years old. There would be no great job for me. No wife and kids. No trips to memorials. Not even a burial in a cemetery where my family could come visit. Just a watery grave where no one would ever find me. And maybe no one would ever know what really happened to us. So was it worth it? At the age of 19, all of my dreams for the future were gone. I never got to say goodbye to my family and my sweetie, and they never got to say goodbye to me either. Did we win the war? Did we save our country? Is the world better off for what we did? Was it worth it? You know the answer to most of those questions is yes. We did win the war. Hitler was defeated, and his horrible death camps were closed. The Japanese were forced into surrender and stopped inflicting their will on other countries. The U.S. won the respect of the world. The economy here picked up, and the generations that followed us had a much better way of life than we did, which was what we all wanted. Was it worth it? There is a World War II memorial in Washington, D.C., and many groups work hard to make sure as many World War II vets can get there as possible before we are all gone. It is a place where veterans can feel appreciated. More important, though, it is a place that will stand as a testament to all they fought for long after they are gone. Was it worth it? Now the USS Silverside's Submarine Museum wants to build a memorial for all of the submariners who fought for our country but did not make it back, to honor the 52 submarines lost during the war, subs that were sunk by torpedoes, subs that hit mines, and the ones that just sailed off one day and were never heard from again. To remember the 3,505 young Americans who gave their lives for their country, knowing that it will be there as a permanent legacy to remind future generations of the values we fought for and the freedoms earned through our sacrifices, gives me peace. Our story must live on, even if we are not there to tell it ourselves. So was it worth it? That's up to each and every one of you to decide, who used the freedoms I gave my life for to make America better. We did not do what we did for the thanks we might get, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Now it's your turn to serve. Share the story of the submariners on Eternal Patrol who aren't here to tell it themselves. How? Give your time. Give your money. Tell others how they can help. Help build the memorial. Then visit the memorial and bring others with you. Keep the story of the World War II submarine alive forever. Make it worth it, because it's the right thing to do.